Welcome to Reunite with Self podcast. I'm your host, Rukan. Here, we will be discovering and unraveling what is truly holding you back. We will put the puzzle together and give you clarity on how and what you can do to create massive shift in your life so you start creating the life you always envisioned for yourself. There is no more waiting. Whether it is liberating from dysfunctional family patterns or parenting tools and tips that actually make the difference, we will be diving into the truth and core of things that are simple and which yet no one talks about. I will be sharing with you all the things that would have changed my life massively if I heard any one of these episodes. A new world is awakening, and true bliss, harmony, and peace is possible on this earth. And my mission is to bring you closer to that, one step at a time. In this safe space, I will hold your hand and give you courage and certainty that you can shift anything and everything in your life. It is time we break the pattern. Whether you want to be the parent you never had or make a shift in your life so you don't play small any longer, you will find the support and guidance in this space. My intention is for you to find answers within yourself while you listen to this podcast, so you feel the bliss of reuniting with your true essence, with self, with so much love and compassion and courage. From my heart to yours, let's keep it rockin'. My gorgeous listener, thank you so much for being here. Welcome to another episode on Reunite with Self. This episode is almost like a love letter to myself that I would want to hear years ago for sure, but even as close as 2 years ago this day, like today, as I was lying down on my bed, sitting on a couch, just looking at content on social media, trying to figure things out, not really knowing where things were going in my life, if things were going to be better, having hope, but still feeling this deep void inside of me, a lot of frustration and feeling loneliness all the time. And it was not related to not being around people. It was mostly relating to me abandoning myself. And so that loneliness was coming from inside of myself. So I wanted to give a title to this episode thinking what would attract me 2 years ago in that situation. I'm saying 2 years ago just to stress how close the date is. So if it was 3 years ago, 4 years ago, 5 years ago, of course, it would have accelerated so many things in my life and would save me from going through a lot of hardship. But I can feel that I was really ready to see what the root cause of the problem was. But I was really blind to what was right in front of me. So I named this episode, If Things Are Not Moving for You, Please Listen to This. So my gorgeous listener, if you're listening to this, and which you are right now, you're hearing my voice. If things are not moving for you, and you might be someone that's working really hard to start getting results on something. Maybe you're really working hard on yourself, on your inner healing, in your spiritual journey. Maybe you are putting a lot of efforts in your business, in something new that you want to create and bring to the world. Maybe you're working really hard to make a relationship work. Maybe you are working really hard to feel safe around your loved ones. Maybe you are working really hard and putting a lot of effort in your job, whatever your career is. Like if you have a job, if you have your own business, if you have a dream to start something new, but you don't know where to begin, you go back and forth. It can be different situations and stories. It might be that you are taking a lot of action, or it might be that you are not really fully taking action and you feel hesitation and confusion and self-doubt and uncertainty stops you. Or it's just one area or many areas in your life where you feel stuck, where you feel frustration, where you have a different vision of your life. And it's completely different what you're living now and what you want to have in your life. It's totally, completely different. Your daily life, how you feel, your energy. There is always something that stops you. There is always a reason. There is always an excuse. There is always some struggle happening. And the general energy of your life feels difficult. So if this would go in through time and space and would find me, this episode, it would have changed my life. So I'm just gonna say it as it is and keep this really short and sweet. If things are not moving for you, my gorgeous listener, please be open to the fact that there might be narcissism in your family, in the family you come from, in the family you were raised. One of your parents or both of your parents in different shapes, size, form, textures, colors, tones might have narcissistic tendencies. Please be open to this fact. And the problems you are dealing with right now, I'm not sure, but speaking to myself 2 years ago, I thought I had figured it out about my family. I thought that the things that really challenged me stopped, that people changed, things were different, that they were not the reason of me suffering in that moment. There were other stories going on in my life, in my adult relationships, in my work, in my everything in my life. That moment seemed as if there were things that I had to solve about them. Like that was my problem. That's what I thought. But now looking back and looking at my story and everything I've been through after 2 years ago, the last 2 years, a year and a half mostly. Last 2 years, like it's going to be almost 2 years that it went to an extreme point that it was like, I talk about it a lot on the other episodes, but what I want to say here is if things are not moving for you in any way, things are not going in the direction that you want them to, there is something stuck and you are in waiting mode. I'm talking to myself 2 years ago. Please be open to the fact that all of this might be caused because of the still lingering narcissistic tendencies coming from your parent or parents and plus siblings, other family members, relatives, your close circle from the family. I talk mostly about family on this podcast. Family meaning the family you come from, not the family you build. That's all results. We talk about that too, but like that's not the cause of the problem. But it doesn't seem that way. I know it doesn't feel that way. I know that it doesn't seem that way. That's why I'm doing this podcast. Please be open to the fact that maybe you had problems with one of your parents. Maybe you had problems with your mother or father long time ago, maybe a decade ago, maybe even more, or maybe 5 years ago. And now maybe it seems as if they're not really intervening into your life and all is good. I want to tell you, especially like in this situation where it seems as if there is no problem coming from the family you are born into. Please be open to the fact that there might be narcissistic tendencies and the wounds were already formed by the people who had the narcissistic tendency. And now it is with few instances that, let's say, this energy still controls you, still manipulates you, and still is the root of everything. And everything is like happening in your life is all like screaming, look at what you can bear, look at what you can tolerate, look at what your standard is. They're just screaming and coming to help you see it, to realize it, to awaken to it. So if things are not moving for you in some shape or form, my gorgeous listener, please be open to the fact that there might be narcissistic, maybe even personality disorder, maybe highly narcissistic tendencies, and maybe you had these problems. You didn't call it narcissistic. You didn't know what it was. I didn't know what it was. It sounds scary to sometimes to people, but I just named this episode almost like a love letter to myself. If it found me on another parallel universe earlier, my life would have been different. But I want to add the sort of the challenge and the peak of the pain in my life caused me to awaken to the truth and be certain of it. Like it created crazy, it created certainty for me. Like no, nothing to the bullshit, like complete certainty, like complete. So I had to go through it. So I'm grateful for everything that I went through. I know that if I didn't go through all of that and see that side of life, truly, if I didn't experience it for so long, then I wouldn't be sitting here and doing this podcast for sure. And it wouldn't be my mission. It wouldn't be in my path. I would still feel a lot of empathy and see people's stories when I meet them without them even knowing it, like not even telling me, but like not even them being aware of it, about the dynamics with their mom, their dad, how the father feels, how the mother feels, how the kids feels, why it's happening, why they're having a challenge. Like I would still have this gift, but I wouldn't do anything about it. Me going through the darkest night of the darkest, what is it called? Whatever. Darkest night of the soul, it brought me this mission, the realization that it's in my path, in my journey to give back about this for sure, because I know how it feels. I know how much it hurts. I know how much it sucks. I know how much it controls your life. I know what it can cause, and it's not worth it. If you can see from today, 10 years from today, if you continued with the same kind of mentality, with the same kind of quote unquote understanding, which is not understanding because you're abandoning yourself every time you accommodate any kind of darkness, any narcissism in the name of love, which is not love, you would stop now. You would take action. You would be certain. If you saw yourself 10 years from today, if you continue with the same kind of mentality, thinking that accommodating this and that and putting under the rug and, accommodating narcissism, accommodating that darkness. I'm not even saying like people or person, that, like, narcissism is a dark energy. When you accommodate narcissism, you give service to the darkness. It has nothing to do with love. We were taught that, but it's BS that we were taught that, we have to find excuses for other people's bullshit in family. No, that's not love. That's not loving to the other person either. That can never be love. That is where those moments are where there is lack of love, that there is, lack of love. So I invite you to listen to different episodes on this podcast, even though the name might not, you might not resonate with it right away, but take it as you wish. If it resonates with you, just go and listen to a few of the other episodes, and you might find something. It might awaken something in you. It might help you think in a different way, look at things in a different way. It's more challenging sometimes to look at our family stuff, although we might be going through so much bullshit in our lives. We might be suffering in our relationship. We might be suffering in our work life, in our career, in our finances, in our friendships, in any area, in our health, any area of our life. We might be suffering as hell, but it's still challenging for people to look at family stuff. Instead, they still focus on what they have in front of them. But what they have in front of them in adult life is a result of what they've been through and what they accommodated and what they tolerated and what they're familiar with. What you're familiar with might be continuing with very different stories, but might be actually leaving you feeling the exact same feeling when you felt when you were 22 years old, 8 years old, 2 years old, 5 years old, 28 years old, depending on your age, whatever it is. And just know that in relationships and family relationships, if you were ever a target of someone who has narcissistic tendency, small things are big things. I repeat, small things are actually big, huge things. They don't need to be huge now, today, to impact your life in a huge, deep way. And you might be self-sabotaging yourself to hide from more narcissism. I just leave you with this today. Please, I invite you to listen to any other episode, just whatever you're drawn to, or maybe the name you're drawn to, or you're just curious about something. Just click on it and listen to it. And if it resonates with you, continue listening to the other episodes. I love you so much. You can always DM me if you have any questions, and I would love to do an episode based on your question. I won't share your name. I might even know you. It doesn't matter. Please DM me at Kevela. It's my goddess wear brand. It's my fashion brand, actually. And it's written on the podcast notes down below. So you can click there and DM me. I love you so much. And I will see you on the next one. My gorgeous listener, if you had any takeaways from this episode or from this podcast in general, I would love to know. Please share this episode with a few loved ones right now. You never know how they can benefit from something so small. And please take a screenshot of this episode and share on IG, tagging me at Kevela. That is Khewella. Kevela. That is my goddess wear brand, my Instagram page. I would love to know what your takeaway was, or something you found inspirational, or a confirmation you believe in as well. That would make my day. And you can always DM me if you have a topic or a certain question in mind that you want me to talk about. And give me a 5-star rating if you feel like it. That would help this podcast immensely to get the word out. I love you. See you on the next one. I want to see you shine your brightest.